What's up, YouTube? We're a couple of cunts, we're in the countryside. We're talking about Britishness. It's St. George's Day on Monday. It's a day when all British people will be celebrating. Well, I say all. Will you be celebrating?
Wasn't even aware it was Monday.
No!
The only saint I know is St. Patrick's Day, for the simple reason it's the traditional, not really tradition, just everybody goes out, pretends they're Irish and gets drunk. I don't pretend I'm Irish, I just go out and drink.
Everyone seems to find a little bit of Irish in them for St. Patrick's Day, or they find a little Irish in them on St. Patrick's night,
yeah.
But, you know. But yeah, St. George's Day, couldn't really give a shit, to be honest.
He might have done something important, I don't know.
Killing a dragon, pretty important.
To be fair, dragons didn't really exist, so...
Well, they didn't after he was through with them. You pretty much get destroyed by dragons on Skyrim no matter what. They're still not something I like to pick a fight with.
That's a great British pastime by picking a fight, but you've got to make sure you pick it with some natives who don't actually have guns. Hence why really our empire got so big for the most part, was we decided to go quite a few places where the locals didn't have guns.
So don't pick a fight in Nottingham, is the lesson here.
Yeah, certainly these days. Quite a few people are tooled up there.
Every fucker's got a gun there.
Yeah, you
see toddlers with guns in their prams. Usually in like
drive-by pramming.
Yeah, usually in giant scally families with like a bunch of inbred retards.
I'm surprised, you know, like they'll have like a citizens advice bureau and stuff in big towns and cities and stuff. I'm surprised they don't just like have a Jeremy Kyle drop-in centre in places like Nottingham where you can just go in and give whatever shit story you've got and just be... Because that's like one of the most unfortunate things I see now about Britain. It's like Jeremy Kyle is one of those things that sums us up.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, you can watch that and really feel the national pride when you see these fucking overweight, you know, out of work chavs, you know, with their benefits and their million kids and their heroin habits, and it's just like, this is the epitome of Britishness, is it? Well, fuck a doodle do. This episode kind of got depressing quite quickly.
So other British stuff apart from invading people, tea, that shows off another good aspect of the Brits. Like, if you can't do something quite as well as someone else, nick it, half-arse it and try and pass it off as good, because the only reason we put milk in tea is because we stole the method for making china, which is what you'd have had back then rather than your cheapo Asda, you know, cups and shit. We stole that from the Dutch.
Right.
Who stole that from someone else, who stole that from someone else, who eventually actually got around to the Chinese, who were making proper ceramics. By the time it got to us, we had such a shit recipe for making pottery and stuff like that. Whenever you put boiling water in it, it would crack. So to try and get around that, they put milk in there to try and cool it down a bit when it went in there, and that's why we have milk in tea.
Now you know.
Yeah, that's just completely bored everyone, so going to try and fix it. Racism, that's a British pastime and a half.
Maybe part of the reason I'm not really a great, you know, Brit lover is because I don't like tea. I can't quite get the national spirit because I don't ingest a lot of tea, or coffee, or Coca-Cola. I'm kind of racist against drinks. I like a lot of white drinks, darker drinks I'm not so keen on. Hot chocolate and Vimto is about as dark as I get.
Apart from the whiskey, of course, which is...
I suppose it's kind of brown. Middle Eastern.
Another part of the world we cruelly fucked up.
Yeah, that's what we do. Colonisation is the British way of life.
We did that.
As much as, you know, complaining about queues and drinking tea, colonialisation is, you know, Britain. Check it out. Or at least we wouldn't be here if it wasn't for colonialisation.
At least it was. These days we don't really... This is the thing, though, these days. Like, we were good at colonialisation. Great, we've done that. But now all that is over, what do we actually do as a nation? We're not good at sports in any sense of the word, really. We're not. The Olympics is
cricket.
Yeah, but nobody else plays it other than us, pretty much.
Fuck off, Sri Lanka play it.
Yeah, those are people we went and took over probably at some point, then got better at our own game than us. But no, that's the thing with Britain, because, you know, the Olympics is coming up this year. I really want it to work, but I just know for a fact there's going to be, the British logistics isn't going to have it going well. All our athletes are going to fail, bless them.
All the athletes will still be queuing outside the station 3 months after the games are supposed to be closed.
Pretty much, yeah. But we don't really do anything anymore. We're not good at sports. Colonialism is very much out of fashion. you can't make anything in this country. It's
No.
far too fucking expensive. Like, we used to make cars, we used to make fucking planes, we used to make everything. These days, you barely see a week going by without some major factory going under. There's pretty much no... What can you think of we actually really do in this country?
To be honest, we import so much now, I'm not even sure whether what I'm eating is, you know, grown down the road in a field somewhere, or if it's grown in some plantation in fucking Afghanistan or something. They did a poll recently in some newspaper, probably
It wasn't the Mail.
or the Mirror, or, you know, some...
Illegal immigrants are stealing your jobs and your children and giving your wife herpes.
It was, well, in amongst all that
Oh,
stuff, and, you know...
That was page 2 then.
No, there was that, and all the stuff that will give you cancer, but there was a thing about...
I do love that section. This week, this will give you cancer.
And then the next week it cures cancer.
Yeah.
But no, there was a section about, it was the most popular dinner dishes in Britain.
Yeah,
And it was like
it's
literally
tikka masala,
curry,
sweet and sour chicken,
Chinese, fucking, you know, sort of American hamburgers and that sort of thing. Like fish and chips. That's like everyone thinks, oh, Britain, fish and chips, you know. People are much more likely to go out and have a fucking McDonald's or get a curry from the local curry house or get a chow mein than actually go and get fish and chips.
That's one of the things I do really like about Britain being multicultural. You can go to any major city and have your choice of cuisine from anywhere in the world.
Cuisine in the loosest sense. You say
Well,
cuisine
it
and
depends
think
where you're going.
like a fucking stuffed quail that Heston Blumenthal's going to serve you on a naked
All right.
arse. You're talking cuisine
All right, fine.
like a box of grease that some foreigner's going to give
No, I
you.
don't necessarily mean you go to like a fucking charcoal grill
Oh,
at 1 o'clock in the morning. I
Oh,
mean something like, you know, like Chiquitos, something like that in Nottingham where you're getting Mexican food.
Okay.
The only thing we can really do that really works out well is sort of exporting that wonderful idea of a quintessential British lifestyle over to the Americans
Yeah,
who
but
love it.
that is a complete fiction. The Americans look at someone like Stephen
Yeah.
Fry and go, "Now that is the
Yeah, I know.
ideal of Britishness."
And it's
Have
not.
you met anyone who's anything remotely
Yeah, this is the
like
thing,
Stephen
they,
Fry?
they don't know that though, so we can just like ham it up. It's like, oh yeah, we all live in massive houses out in the country and have tea with the Queen every Sunday. And they'll fucking love it.
The people you see in the street look more like Stephen Graham than Stephen Fry.
There's an Australian comedian called Jared Christmas, and he says the British are the most violent race on the planet because we're the only culture to use the word glass as a verb. It's just sort of like, yeah, I can kind of see that. It's like you see people walking around with shot glass marks on their head.
We've got a mate called Mike who's a proper nutter, and he invented the concept that if you're in a bar fight and you really want to intimidate someone, you don't glass them,
You glass
glass yourself. Because if you were, you know, if you were starting on someone in a bar and they just broke a bottle over their own head, you'd probably decide, right, that's not someone I want to fuck with. He's a man who once threw a microwave at a tram, so another thing that Brits do fantastically.
Swearing.
Oh God, the British swear words.
At work, this is the second office I've worked in at work where they've got me a swear jar, because I'm quite bad, but one of the guys, as I said,
Wow, really?
the guy who I work with is a cage fighter. He's got one of those massive jars you see of protein shake, which he's now finished, and he's put a big label on the front of it. It just said Cameron swear jar and cut a hole in the top. So this was just the other day before I left the office for a month. So I've put on the side of it rather than just Cameron swear jar. Now he's Cameron's fucking swear jar.
The one thing that really amuses me is hearing Americans say swear words that are traditionally British, like wanker.
Yeah, that's...
And like, I hate how Americans say twat. It's not twat, it's twat, you twat. It's not spelt with an O, it's twat. Twat. Is it so hard to say? Twat. There's a common misconception in America that like cunt isn't offensive over here. I've seen so many shows and films where they're like, oh, you know, the Brits throw cunt around like no one's business. Like they expect that we go up to our mums and go, all right, cunt, how's it going? Or just walk into a shop and go, give me a loaf of bread, you cunt. People who really have a masterful use of the word cunt is the Scottish.
Yeah.
Because they use that as fucking punctuation. I went like, I went to a wedding in Scotland like a few years ago now, and on the minibus ride back to the hotel, fuck me, you've not heard such copious use of that word. You think we swear a lot on this
And this
show?
is like 8-year-old girls.
Jesus Christ, every other word was cunt. Like someone said a sentence, it was pretty much like, oh, the cunt that cunt went to the cunting cunt and cunted. Like, that is just... I wanted to drop to my knees and just go, that is magnificent.
We should replace us with those people. It'll be so much
hell,
better.
like, I aspire to swear that brilliantly. It's like Shakespearean. It's a language all of itself. God bless the Scots. Something that Brits do quite well, other than knifing people.
Binge drinking?
Binge drinking is one thing, yeah. But no one binge drinks quite like the Brits, I don't think. Especially since the 24-hour drinking came in. It's basically like, well, you know, I'm going to feel worse if I stop drinking, so I may as well just carry on forever. I love how you're going to make some derogatory comments about binge drinking while you're standing there with your third beer. No, what I was going to say is music. A lot of my favourite bands, many of them still going, are British. We've got Frank Turner, Biffy Clyro, Elbow, Radiohead, you know, all fantastic British bands. Films as well. You know, obviously America's kind
Comedy.
of got a corner on the market, but yeah, Britain does.
We do comedy stuff like, especially stuff like Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, which it has that British taste to it when you watch it, and not want to like completely dwell on like Simon Pegg, people like that, but stuff like Spaced as well.
Well, all the sort of Channel 4 and BBC comedies. I mean, when you think of like, you know, The Mighty Boosh and Garth Marenghi's Dark Place and Snuffbox and, you know...
Goodness gracious me, as I've mentioned before, it's Indians in it, British Indians,
Christ,
but it's still British.
If you want to go that far back, let's talk about goddamn
Red
Bottom
Dwarf.
or Porridge or, you know, Robin's Nest, any of those classics.
Python.
Blackadder.
Oh, well, there you
Blackadder?
go. Blackadder, yes, absolutely. And then, I mean, all the way up to, you know, the IT crowd and stuff like that. Great
And
stuff.
Our stand-up comedians as well, Ross Noble.
Oh, Lee Evans, Bill Bailey,
Yeah.
Eddie Izzard. Yeah. See, some fantastic homegrown talent. The thing is that too many people forget that a lot of these fantastic bands and talented people come from Britain. It's the whole Hugh Laurie thing, isn't it? That too many people believe that Hugh Laurie is American. He's ours, bitches. You can't have him.
Other great British accents. Tim Curry.
Tim Curry. Christopher Lee.
Gary Oldman. What a
Ian
guy.
McKellen. Sean Connery. Michael Caine.
Michael Caine. Only supposed to blow the bloody doors off. When I was at a friend's wedding last year in America, we were just doing various British sort of like things like that. I was quite amazed as well how much of our comedy they have out there, because we're always moaning in this country, you know, how everything on TV is American. If you go out there, they've got a surprising amount of our stuff.
Really?
As well, yeah. BBC America is like really popular, but the comedies and stuff they knew, you know, League of Gentlemen, they knew stuff like that.
What? That's,
Yeah, I know.
That's
It's
so
just-
incredibly British. I really can't imagine other cultures actually getting it. Especially some of the sort of colloquialisms they use. I mean, the League of Gentlemen is kind of twisted for British people, so people outside watching it, God, I hope they don't think we're all like that.
No.
Every small village in Britain is just Royston Vasey. That's not really giving the best impression. It is kind of true, but they don't need to know that. People sort of taking popular culture or works of fiction and, you know, using that to judge Britain. How horrifying a concept would it be for someone in another country to click on one of our videos and think that's how all British people are?
When we drink too much, we're not the best looking, we're quite loud and opinionated, and we'll probably stab you if you look at us funny.
Well, as always, we've been a couple of cunts in the countryside, and if you enjoyed this video, you can of course like, share, favourite and subscribe. Check us out on Facebook and Twitter, and if you didn't like it, I'll glass myself. Ow. Feel free to suggest a topic for us to talk about in a future episode. See you next time.
Here's a question for you. Do you think the Queen ever gets weirded out by people putting her face in strippers' asses?